Hey guys, it's Becky and today I'm going to be reviewing Sea Witch by Sarah Henning. Sea Witch is a prequel slash retelling slash origin story of the Sea Witch in The Little Mermaid. We follow our main character Evie, who has only ever had two friends in her very small town. The first, Anne, has died when they were younger due to drowning at sea, and the second is the prince of the country that they live in. Of course, because it's the prince, there's lots of gossip and she's not really integrated with the rest of the people around her. One day she meets Anne Met, who resembles her best friend that died so closely that she immediately gets to work on finding out whether this is in fact Anne and whether she did survive. Soon Anne Met and Evie become close friends. Anne Met is keeping lots of secrets which Evie must uncover and also use her knowledge to the best of her abilities to help save the humanity of her friend. Sea Witch is a great prequel slash origin story because it's really unique and original in its telling. It's not like some retellings which are so similar to the source material that you know exactly what's going to happen. For example, you know that this is the origin story of the Sea Witch, so you know it's probably not going to be a happily ever after because you know this character is going to still be around by the end of the book. But all of the twists and turns to get there are surprising, then they're shocking, and they're really interesting, like you want to know what happens. Unfortunately, it is a bit of a slow start. There's lots of information being thrown at you and you kind of have to understand who Evie is, who the prince is, who Anne is, and what this town is and what it's like, and it's a lot of information to take on and it really slows the pace right down. Luckily, after that initial slow start, it does start to pick up and intriguing aspects become part of the book and it twists together. Character-wise, I found Evie was just an okay kind of character. She wasn't a bad character and she wasn't an amazing character. She was just kind of in the middle. She was there. There wasn't really many qualities I could say about her. I think the most interesting aspect of her is that she's the only person in this town who seems to hold magic. Although magic is feared and shunned in this town, and so Evie cannot openly do magic, and actually I felt that maybe sometimes it lacked a little bit of magic. I felt like some places this book was not a story of fantasy and magic, but it was a story that had a little bit of magic on the side. Other than that, Evie does have a love interest and a romance plotline. I didn't really get this, I didn't like it. It felt, actually all the romance in this book felt underdeveloped. A lot of it was rushed, which of course it would be because it's similar to The Little Mermaid, but I felt that it wasn't as in-depth as it could have been. There wasn't development, and at the end of the day I didn't really care whether or not these characters were going to end up together, whether they would stay together, whether or not they would be with other people. I wasn't really interested in that part. Although I think to add to that, the male characters themselves, there's two princes that are very typical male tropes for themselves. There's one guy who is attractive but charming and gets all the girls but isn't actually that great. There's that kind of character. And then there's the nice guy best friend who's also very attractive. These are two very cut and paste character models, I think, and there wasn't really much depth outside of that apart from the fact they were royalty, which in many fantasy books that is basically what male characters are. They're either soldiers or princes or both, and they weren't interesting to me. I didn't really care for them as characters, and it's because they just didn't have any kind of hook to get me interested in what was going to happen to them. On the other hand, this book is all about the female friendships between Evie and Anne Met. And I actually enjoyed having that kind of focus on the females and how it was their friendship that was developing and what was going to happen to them. Anne Met herself was my favourite character to read about. She was in depth, she had clear motivations, she had objectives and goals, and she knew what she had to do to get to them. She was a really intriguing character as Evie is convinced she's Anne, who is her childhood best friend. And we do get to see kind of this mystery arc unfold as Evie both befriends Annette and tries to find out her secrets, and Annette obviously is quite upset when she finds out about this. Overall, her character was the one that really kept me on my toes and kept me interested in what was going to happen. Like I said at the beginning, it is a prequel, so you know it's not going to be happily ever after, but I do think it was a great ending. It was quite bittersweet. I didn't expect that ending, but I was also happily surprised with it. It doesn't seem too out there. It seems like it fits in with both Sea Witch and The Little Mermaid, and it has kind of a good point for this book to end, but for the second book to start. Overall, it was just a really nice read. It was an easy read. It was probably a 4-star read. There were those issues in the start with the slow pacing, and there was also the lack of depth of male characters and romance. But overall, I really enjoyed reading. Thank you guys for watching, and I hope to see you again soon.